Yes, it's live. Hello, good day. It's Saturday, the 22nd of January 22, and I have been reading out of Lydia, which is a continuation of a book I started writing in 2006 entitled Bliss After Life, which is about the death of Bliss. She passes after her 95th birthday party. And the story of Bliss After Life goes on with her life in the afterlife and her family. And it ended with the birth of Lydia, who is the reincarnation of a man, a Russian entrepreneur called Alexei. We are still at the Refuge. Faye has had her parents, or her parents are visiting, they're still there. And Faye is Chinese. Her parents have come from China to see their new grandchild. And they had all had a big lunch, and now we are at the next day in the Refuge. And I missed off yesterday the ending of chapter 36 because the signal just went. So I continue with Faye, who had been snoozing on the bed with Lydia in her cot, and Ben was working at his computer. He had put some quiet music on, and she found herself watching his back, his fingers racing on the keyboard. She looked at her watch and realized she must have slept for at least an hour. She could hear Lydia stirring, and Ben turned around. "Hello, you are awake." Ben got up to stretch himself. He had finished an article and was glad that he had sent it off. "I think I am." Faye stretched herself and peered into the cot, where Lydia was doing the same. Her eyes opened and she looked straight at her mum. Her eyes lit up and she smiled. Her toothless mouth grinning. "Oh, you're so beautiful, my little one." Faye leaned into the cot and Ben couldn't help picking her up. She smiled at him the same way, and he blew a raspberry on her belly, which had Lydia giggling. "Do it to me." Faye was laughing and lifted her sweater. Ben leaned down with Lydia, blowing a raspberry, which had Lydia beside herself with laughter, which had them all laughing, and Ben dropped himself and Lydia on the bed. He just loved this. "My two ladies, I don't know how I deserve this luck." "You are so deserving. Lydia, what do you think? What do you think? Is your daddy deserving?" Lydia was giggling, and it was a joy to join her. "Children are irresistibly gorgeous. I never knew." Ben was laughing. He had no idea how wonderful it felt to have made a new person. "I think we did an amazing job." Ben felt almost tearful. He was not generally so emotional, but with Melanie's pregnancy he had never been so aware of children, the responsibility and the joy. "I know, my parents are so happy, and my mum feels it is so good for me to have Melanie as a friend, soon to be a mum. She feels it is important to have a circle surrounding you in pregnancy and birth." She was laughing. Her mum was so traditional. Village life was so much simpler in some ways. "Anna is so happy to have Peter here. She's so good with Lydia. I should not be surprised if she gets pregnant next." Faye was giggling. That was such a nice thought. Lydia nestled between her parents. She always smelled wonderful, Ben thought. "I cannot believe the change in Peter, honestly. If you had known him before New Year's Eve, you would not think him the same man. If you had said those words to him last year, he would have reacted, well, I don't exactly know how. He never seemed that interested in romance. Serious always. Anyhow, the reaction would have been totally different to now. I have never seen him so excited and lovey-dovey." "Well, it seems to be in the air around here at the moment." Faye took Lydia on her belly, and it took no time for Lydia to want feeding. "Come here, sweetie." She made herself comfortable, and Ben embraced them both. "Yes, love. Love is in the air." Ben started humming the song and kissed Lydia on her cheek. "I shall get up and look what is happening in the house. I'm hungry now." He climbed out of bed and stretched. He could see the sun coming down slowly. The days had got markedly lighter and the clocks had changed, which always gave him a spring in his step, but the day had progressed quite quickly and it was getting darker. Chapter 37, written 7... Oh, that doesn't matter when I've written it. It's a few years ago. Susan contemplates. April had come to an end. Susan was standing in the garden of the Refuge. In the last few weeks, it had felt much more like a home than a place of work. She loved having Ben and Faye so close by. Lydia was her little sunshine. Faye and Anna enjoyed working in the garden, and they had some fine days where they had made themselves busy outside to get the garden going for the summer. She was watching them talking in the greenhouse, which had never looked so ordered and organized. Faye was keen to grow healing herbs, and Anna loved growing vegetables. Neither had much experience, but they seemed to get on just fine, with the seeds flourishing. Susan had given some advice, but best to learn whilst they were going along, and it was nice to see them preparing the beds and pottering around laughing. Peter was about to leave, and she knew that Anna had got used to him being here. He was a changed man, Susan thought. He even looked different. Peter always seemed to have a frown, but recently she saw him laughing all the time. He had got besotted with Lydia, had time on his hand for the first time in ages, and she wondered how long he would stay in Scotland after his time here with all of them. It was his birthday early May, and she wondered if he would stay for that. She heard the kitchen door and Peter coming into the garden with a big basket of washing. She smiled when she saw he had put the apron with the clips around his waist. Very fetching, Peter. They were laughing, and Anna and Faye joined them. Apron suits you. I think we shall all get you a fancy one for your birthday. Faye had seen some very funny ones online. Are you staying for your birthday, Peter? Susan thought she might as well ask. The house felt so good right now, and she suddenly had lost her heart to advise free spaces to the agency. She felt a pang of guilt as she had so many coming in through her doors, but she felt there are other places, and this house had been a refuge for 2 decades. Time to change. Anna was looking at Peter expectantly. They had been avoiding talking dates of departure. Yes, I would love to celebrate it here. It's a long May bank holiday, with the 5th being a Saturday. There's no point going back before. I shall make some plans, but let's say departure after the 10th of May. Anna jumped around his neck, and they were laughing. Peter had lost all desire to go back at all, but he had to sort his affairs, and the decision to move back down here had been taken. He had time to work details out with Anna later. There was no rush right now, and he was happy to stay for a while longer. Then you can help us digging and getting the beds ready for planting, Peter. Faye handed him a spade, and they were all laughing as he was still holding washing in the other hand. Is this what my life is going to be like? He looked at the spade in the one and the baby grow in the other. Yes, get used to it. Ben had just come out to join them and laughed at this bizarre picture of his intellectual, serious friend, the architect. He loved Peter and was so happy to see him so funny. I'm staying until after my birthday. Let's have a party next week Saturday and celebrate. There's so much to celebrate. Peter handed the spade to Ben. And I don't see why you shouldn't get your hands dirty for once. I get on with this now. Shall I make some lunch after? Wonders never cease. Peter walked off with the spade, followed by the girls, who were already giving instructions for the bedding to get going. Susan walked back into the kitchen and smiled to herself. Amazing how things evolve. She heard her phone ring and saw David's smiling face. David, so nice you're ringing. At a party. A party is being planned here next Saturday. Peter is staying a while longer. I'm so glad you're Skyping me. How this is so funny. I knew it. Peter was laughing. He had been chatting with them and had the firm impression that Peter was not going to stay away for long. Chapter 38. Sylvana and Steve. Steve was making breakfast when he heard his mobile. He had been staying at Sylvana's all week. They had discovered that much of their ideas about rhythm and sound and vibrations were the same, although they were both from different avenues of life. They had spent much of their time in her studio. He had started to bring equipment, and now he had more at her place than at his. He answered the harps and chimes of his ringtone. "Dad, how are you doing? We thought it has been ages, and it has just been decided to have a party at the Refuge on the 5th of May. It's Peter's birthday, you know, Architect Pete, and he lives here at the moment with Anna." Well, he had to stop for laughing as his dad had started to laugh. It all seemed so funny to Steve because Sylvana had commented that they should do something lovely for the weekend of the 5th of May. Beltane was a pagan festival, and they were thinking of inviting Ben and Faye and Lydia to Brighton that weekend. "Great idea. It's just funny, as we had intended to see you this weekend anyway. Had just not got around to ask." He had to laugh again. Conversations about synchronicities had been abound with him and Silvana, and when he looked around, he could see Silvana laughing and giving him the thumbs up. Chap, her dog, came running, and he suddenly wondered if they could take him. "How is it with little Chap, Silvana's dog? Could we bring him?" "Yes, I don't see why not. You know Holly and Chris will be there too. They will bring Frida. And I know Holly made sure the garden was dog-proof for Frida as soon as she came for the first time. That little Frida is as curious as anything." "Frida and Chap," Steve raised his eyebrows to Silvana. "Yes, why not?" "Oh, lovely. What a nice idea. I look forward to that. We should play them a little bit of the stuff we've been working on." Silvana looked at him. They had so deeply fallen in love, and somehow she felt a good connection with Susan. Making music together seemed inevitable. She smiled. "Okay, we shall set off early in the morning on Saturday and aim to arrive for 1 p.m. or so." "Yes, great. With any luck, we can sit in the garden." "Shall we bring some food?" "Yes, that would be great. We shall be quite a crowd. Tony and Melanie will come, and I bet Evelyn too. Anyhow, the whole thing with the Refuge is that there is plenty of space. Message me when you leave Saturday, and just let me know, Dad, what you bring, so we can organize it a bit. I look forward to seeing you, and Sylvana. Love to her." "Same to your Faye. I'm getting excited. I've fallen in love with your daughter, and I can't tell you how happy I am to be her granddad. I want her to know me, and Sylvana." He smiled at her when he finished the call. "That's a lovely thing to say, Steve. It's so nice that I was with you when she was born, a new life. And with my Poppy of childbearing age, I shall need to be patient and be another Nan for Lydia for now." He took her in his arm. He would never have believed he could ever feel as easy with anyone again. He had loved Susan. His relationship with Sylvana was very different, but then he was different. They had talked much about the chapters in their lives, the different ages. We evolve into different people. Even without believing in re-incarnation, one lifetime can consist of 3 or even more lives, different partners, different countries. He had traveled so much in his life, and to feel settled now was so good. Life felt exciting. He loved it that Faye had such different roots. Best friend with Anna, who was from Russia, all meeting up at the Refuge. Yes, you know, my mother-in-law, Bliss, or me, I don't need to explain. She is clapping her hands up there, wherever she is. This party, I bet, had something to do with that. They were both laughing. Many conversations had been around the unseen with them, ever since Lydia had made her appearance. Life is exciting when it's exciting. Chapter 29. Preparing Milton. Bliss was with Milton and Natalie. Excitement was growing, and Natalie was loving the progression unfolding. "I am so glad to actually be born this time." Milton was already sounding like a little boy, growing inside Melanie, already moving, and the heart beating. Yes, how wondrous that will be, in the same family your last potential birth was destined to be. It's a tapestry. Bliss was smiling. She was so happy. This little one would be the son of her grandson Tony. and would live his life in her last incarnated family on earth. It filled her with joy to anticipate the development of her own family, many part of her soul group, and genetically as well as spiritually connected. We are a strong strand of the tapestry. She was embracing their beingness. Look after Mummy and be gentle and patient. She was laughing now as this little Milton had had some amazing lives, still found in history books. A living library of knowledge accumulated over many centuries. A busy soul, always ready for a new adventure. You chose the right mother, Milton. She already knows your name. Bliss prepared to leave. Milton had growing to do. Natalie was herself not far from going back. The call had reached her too, and she felt a new beginning. Beginning was imminent. You go, Natalie. Speak with the Council of Elders. We need to strengthen this strand of the tapestry, and that needs commitment, which you will not be short of this time. And this is the end of chapter 39, and the next one is chapter 40. And today is the 22nd of January 2022. In the story, it is 2012.